Hello, my name is Manny Kagan. I'm a mortgage broker and founder of Money Solutions Academy. In 1985, together with my wife Alpha, we started Pacific Bay Financial Corporation, which is by now it's probably oldest mortgage brokerage in the Bay Area. And a few months ago, I think September last year, I started Mortgage Solution Academy, which I changed to Money Solution Academy because of people like this young man, Harold Khan. Now, Harold works for a title company.
Correct.
And you'd ask, so what this has to do with mortgages or money? And my answer is everything. Because the only way we can get real estate is to going through process of escrow and title. There are
Correct.
two steps. So can you tell us, Harold, what it is and why there is the difference?
Well, the escrow, in a nutshell, obviously, the escrow officer, they're the middle ground. They're the neutral third party, and what they do is their job is just to gather documentation, and more importantly, be able to receive instructions from all parties. And then once they have all the information, they have the money, and they end up recording the documents. So that's their job in a nutshell. Keep it very, very simple.
And title?
And title is the part that's, I think, because I'm an ex-title person,
Yes.
we're the Rodney Dangerfield in the title and escrow world, okay? Because it seems to be something that no one really talks about other than the fact that they receive what they call the title report, but by definition, the correct verbiage is a preliminary report.
Yes.
Okay, that it's a sample, it's an offer to offer title insurance, and it's very intricate because what we have to do as title people, we have to go back pretty much in time, technically to when the beginning of the property. Okay, and
When God created the earth.
not necessarily when God created the earth, but I think San Francisco is the easier example. Those of us that live from San Francisco, the beginning of time for San Francisco was the earthquake in 1906.
I see.
Okay, so not all the records were destroyed in 1906, but because of that, in order to be fair and to be able to prove to the world that you actually own that piece of property, they created what they call the McInerney Act. There's an attorney named McInerney, and it's a quiet title.
Yes.
And what that does is that you had to, as an owner, you have to provide enough proof in court. And what you end up doing is you end up suing the world. Okay, by suing the world, it's a due process where it gives anyone who thinks they have a right to title.
Yes.
Now it's their time to come to court to prove
And
themselves.
claim that this might be.
It's typically a 6-month process unless there's appeals, and once it goes through the process and there's no objection to it, then the judge will award you title. And once they award you title, they end up recording with a final decree of distribution.
Yes. However, when we have real estate transaction, we don't have 6 months. And basically, from what Harold told me, they're basing information on previous recording. So whatever previous, they don't go so deep. Only when there is some issues come up, then you really get deep in the finding of who really owned this property before you.
Correct. We have tricks in the trades, but I won't talk about it today. But basically, all title companies will have some sort of title plan. Okay.
Yes.
Some companies might have it back to from 1906 forward. Some companies might have it from 1952 forward. When it's all said and done, there's other tricks to the trade,
Yes.
such as the assessor's records, for example.
Yeah.
We can purchase those information. And even if you have a plant that was back in 1952, I mentioned earlier 1906 is the beginning of time.
Yeah.
There's other ways to track down that information.
Yeah. But in my point is, I want to show how important it is.
Oh yeah.
There's two issues of importance from my point of view, from mortgage point of view. A, cost. Because when we've calculated how much money borrowers need or how much money will be left over after refinance, it's called closing costs. So what's a closing cost? Title, escrow, recording, all of this stuff, right?
Yeah.
Does it change? And who regulates it?
It's regulated by the DOI, Department of Insurance.
Sure. Yes. Mhm.
So all title companies, when they want to raise fees, for example, we must submit our proposal as what the fees are going to be through DOI.
Mhm.
So it's all regulated, and so it has to be fair. And they do have the right to say you're not charging enough, or you're charging too little. So it's all within the parameter. Okay?
Interesting.
With that said, we're not all the same.
Mhm.
It could be $100 or two difference, and they're okay with that.
Yes, and for our end, let's say, clients supposedly can shop for escrow services,
Correct.
but it's meaningless because yes, maybe you'll find a title company, we call title escrow interchangeably, that will charge $100 less. But experience of escrow officer, you cannot buy for money. And this is a lot of people don't realize.
Correct.
In my world, we follow escrow officer. If they time to time change companies, I don't remember name of the company they were before, but I know the name of escrow officer
Correct.
because this is who is making or breaking my transaction.
Correct. Yeah, you have to really know what you're doing, because I mean most transactions, Manny, as you know, we'll call them bunny deals. Most transactions, there's no issues. You know, the vesting, it's Harold Khan and Deanna Khan, husband and wife. There's some CC&Rs recorded, easement for utilities, and there's one loan on the property. I go through your company to refinance. You pay off that loan, there's no issues. But there's a lot of times there's issues with the title, especially in situations where the title hasn't changed hands for a long period of time. There's been death in the family. There's been, or even in situations where the final decree of distribution was recorded, and the more beneficiaries on title, the more difficult it can be. Because what happens is that when the title company does a chain of title, there's time where there's missing deeds, the conveyance, or not the conveyance, but the distribution to the beneficiaries, there's mistakes by the,
Yes,
I hate to
yes.
say, the attorney.
Yes.
And so with the title company, when they end up doing the research, they're not trying to create problems. They have to do it based on a black and white perspective to make sure the title is correct.
Yes.
Okay? And here's the other problem. If we overlook stuff like that, there's another stop that we cannot avoid, which is the tax collector's office. Because if we were just to turn a blind eye on title, on a missing link in the chain of title, the title company ends up recording the document. It doesn't stop there, because the tax collector's office, first of all, they have to note the fact that it's a transfer of title, number one, for reassessment purposes and new tax purposes. Number two is they also scrutinize the document, and they also do have information. They have a chain of title in their file as well,
Yes.
from A, B, C, D, E. And when they look at it and they find a mistake, in those situations, Manny, they will consider that particular transaction invalid.
So in other words, you see, there is a lot of moving parts.
Correct.
And people don't realize. And then when the question is, so what you paying escrow for?
Correct.
It's not that they're moving papers.
Correct.
They're distributing money. Because when you have real estate transaction, purchase, refi, there is a lot of parties involved.
Correct.
And real estate escrow company distributes the money. And this is very critical. No one can take a penny from you. Every penny is accountable. And sometimes there's a confusion. This is why people call me with the questions. This is why we exist and we coexist. I want to stop this here because there is so much to talk about. And I would like to thank you. My name is Manny Kagan, and I promise to help you.
Thank you.